What's up everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be taking a look at this PS5. You guys are going to want to stick around for this one because this is the dirtiest console I have ever cleaned. You can tell that this console has been stored in a very dusty environment, and it's also been around some tobacco of some form, because you can tell by the yellowing of the plates a little bit, and you can also tell by the smell. It's very distinct, and it'll really stink up the room. Taking a look at the controller, you can also see that it's stained with a lot of dip, chew, jaw, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, it's on the back of the controller, and you can see it some on the front. Taking one last look at this thing before I open it up, you can really see how caked the grills for the fan are with dust. One thing to note is this is actually not the launch model PS5, it's the revision model. Not to be confused with the slim model that just recently came out. But still, it's gotten very dirty in just a couple of years. And finally, taking a quick look at the bottom before I pull it apart, there's a nice collection of dog hair down here, and you can see dust has collected very well on the stand too. Now, pulling these plates off is a little tricky, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. If they've never been off before though, they take a little bit of convincing. And as you can see, the dust nightmare is already starting. I'll give you guys a little bit of a close-up shot here, but something I noticed immediately, I think that these are moth wings, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to see when I get it pulled apart more. But it's pretty bad. I'm going to go ahead and use some isopropyl alcohol and try to clean this up a little bit. I gotta be honest with you guys, some compressed air would have been great here, for the whole console honestly, but unfortunately I was out and wasn't able to run to the store and get any. Time to go ahead and take the other plate off. This one was a little bit harder for me to get off, but I think that it was because of the way it was shaped, because of the disk drive, but still not horrible to get off. And immediately I noticed bugs on this side too. That's a fly right there, and you can also see there are flies on top of the disk drive, as well as moths. I'll give you guys a close-up shot on this side too. You can see there's a lot more stuff caked into the fan, and you can also see here, my suspicion was right, there are moths, and there's a beetle too, and here on the disk drive there are multiple flies. So, nice, but I'm also glad it's not roaches or bed bugs, because those would be significantly worse. I got some of the bugs removed, and I'm going to go ahead and try to scrub this down with some more isopropyl alcohol. There's some stuff that is, I don't really know how to describe it. I don't know if it's something nasty from the bugs or what, but it was kind of hard to get off of the disk drive. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take the cover off for this fan. These are security bit size 8s, and they are all different lengths, which I think is a little bit crappy, but I guess it kind of makes sense because of the way it's designed. Some have to be different lengths, but still, would have been nice if they could have made them all the same length for remembering. I'm also going to pull this grill piece out. This is very nice. I was surprised that it just snaps into place, but it makes it super easy to take out and put back in, so props to Sony. I also found it interesting that they had this plastic piece with adhesive on it covering some of the cables, but I guess it makes sense because the average person, if they're just switching plates, you never know, something might happen, a cable might accidentally get unplugged. So I guess that kind of gives them a little bit of a shield, you know, keeps something like that from happening. As you can see, this fan is absolutely disgusting. Typically, the fan is the dirtiest part of the console because that's where all the air is flowing through. But I gotta say, this is one of the nastiest fans I've ever pulled out of a console. Next, I'm going to work on taking this plastic piece off. So, starting out, you need to take off the SSD cover. It's very nice that that's there. It's an M.2 slot. Then after that, there are multiple other security screws that need to come out of here. One of these security screws is hidden under a warranty label, and a common misconception with these is that if you take it off, if something happens to your console, you're not going to be able to get it recovered under warranty, but that's actually not true, and I just found this out within the last year or so. But as long as you take it off and you don't screw anything up inside yourself, as long as you're easy with everything, then you should still be able to get everything covered if something were to happen. Now that we have this plastic shield removed, you can see that there are more bugs and more dust, and this thing's just a mess. I can't believe this thing is so dirty, and it's only a couple years old. You can see here, I call these galley nippers. I think that might be a regional name though. I've also heard them referred to as skeeter eaters, but they basically look like a giant mosquito. Now that I've cleaned up just a little, I'm going to go ahead and remove these cables. You have to be careful with this disk drive cable. You actually have to press down on this little metal pin before you can pull the disk cable out. And I've never seen that before, so anybody going into this blind, you'll want to watch out for that because you'll tear up the cable if you pull it out without pressing down on the metal thing. Now that the cables are out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and lift up this disk drive. There's no screws or anything for it, it just pulls straight up. And as you can see, under the disk drive, unfortunately, there were even more flies. Next, I'm going to take this metal shield off for the motherboard so I can clean it up a little bit better. There are actually 43 screws in this, but thankfully they all are the same screws. They're all the same length, all security Torx 8. So that makes it a little bit easier when you're putting it back together. So I actually skipped showing some of the cleaning process on camera because it was just a pain and I was honestly getting sick of looking at it. There was so much dust to clean out. So while I'm taking a break, I'm going to go ahead and clean this controller up, as it shouldn't take too long. I'm going ahead and giving all the buttons and the triggers and the sticks some presses and messing around with them just to make sure none of them are sticky or anything like that, and they all feel good. Starting out taking this controller apart, you actually have to grab this black plastic piece on the bottom and just pry it up. It comes out really easily, but you need to pull that piece out before you do anything. I'm actually not going to completely tear this controller down because I've never messed with one of these before, and honestly I'm afraid to take it apart because of the new technology that's in there. I don't really know how it works and it looks really complicated, so I'm just going to leave it alone, and I'm sure the inside's fine. I'm just going to clean up the outside very well. Now that that's done, and I've cleaned up the rest of the inside of the console off camera, I'm going to go ahead and clean up these plates. I figured you guys would definitely want to see this because they're white, so you can really see every little bit of dust on there. I was actually really surprised at how well these still cleaned up though. They look pretty much brand new when I got done with them. Now that they're all clean, I'm going to show you both of them and put them on. They're actually easier to get on the console than they were to take off, which is surprising. I figured it would be the other way around, but not too bad at all. And as you can see, like I said, they cleaned up very nicely. They look pretty much brand new, and I'm really surprised by that because of the way they looked beforehand, and they were stained with tobacco, so I figured if anything, they would still have a little bit of a stain on there, but they turned out great. I'll show it off a little bit here before I plug it in and test it, make sure everything's running cool. Now that it's all clean, I've got it hooked up, I've got it ready to go. I'm going to test out and make sure it's running cool and everything. Many people actually don't know this, but you can actually rent games from your local library. I've been doing this for years, but I'm surprised to see how many people don't realize that. I don't have a PS5 for myself, so I made a trip down there just to see if they had any PS5 games so I could test it, and sure enough they did. I'm testing it with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and I've got to say, like I said, I don't have a PS5. I've never messed with one before. I've seen videos about it. Kind of thought the adaptive triggers were a joke, you know, something nobody cared about. But after playing this game, I'm really surprised by them. I mean, they feel great. I'm surprised at how well they work. Kind of has me wanting one of my own. I'd like to see... I've heard people talk about the bow in the Horizon games. I'd really like to see how that feels because it's really cool in this game. Whenever you pull the trigger for different guns, it has a different feel to it. It's pretty sweet. I think it really brings the immersion to the next level. While I'm testing this, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. It's been a while since I posted a video. I think it's actually been 3 or 4 months now. I apologize for that. Life's been crazy. A lot of good crazy. But it's just been hard to find time, especially since me and my wife, we got married, which is awesome, and life is great. God is good. But anyways, I just want to let you guys know, things have been slowing down a little bit, and I've actually had a lot more time to work on stuff recently. So hopefully I'll have a lot more videos coming soon. I plan to do a lot with this next year. I will say too, I apologize about the modded Wii video. I unfortunately still haven't finished that. I'm still waiting on a couple things that I need to do for it. I'm kind of struggling to figure it out. I know I can figure it out, it's just going to take time. So hopefully I'll be able to get that to you guys very soon. I know I promised it to you last year, but as soon as that's done, I'll let you guys know and I'll get it out. Something else for you guys hopefully to look forward to. I have a Sega Game Gear, and I actually got it from Retro Wolf. If anybody knows him, I'm not super familiar with his content, but I've heard of him, and that's how I was able to get a hold of it. But it needs recapped. It needs new capacitors all the way around. So, and I've actually fixed. This will be my 5th one, so hopefully that video won't be a mess because I've done enough at this point. It should be easy, and it looks in very good condition. It's well taken care of, so hopefully you guys will look forward to that one. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough. The console was running normal, so that's good. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.